C'est dur, hein. Non mais c'est dur.
Non mais il faut vraiment que je le frappe.
Mais c'est comme une pierre. Hi guys, welcome to Vlogmas Day 9. Today we're going to be making a gingerbread house from scratch. This is my favorite activity. I wait all year to make gingerbread. And it's funny because my whole life, up until 4 years ago, I never made gingerbread. I always just bought those like $10 make your own gingerbread kits that have all the pieces cooked and cut and like the little baggie of icing sugar where you just add water and you make the icing and stuff. I had done that my whole life, and so when I moved to France and I couldn't find that kit, I was like, well, I can't not make a gingerbread house for Christmas. So that's when I decided to make my own, and it turns out it's actually a lot easier than you'd think. I will link the recipe that I'm using down below. It is great. I've used it 4 years in a row, and it also has like a template that you can cut out and print at home to cut out all the pieces of your house. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, the first 2 steps of this recipe I want to explain beforehand because I think I'm gonna have to cut out the sound because I'll have the mixture going. But the first step is to cream together the butter and the sugar. You're gonna have 285 grams of unsalted butter with 300 grams of dark brown sugar, and you're gonna have them going in your mixer on medium speed for about 5 to 10 minutes. So while that's going, I'm also going to sift together all the dry ingredients and spices. So that includes 1.1 kilo of flour, 5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 6 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1.5 teaspoons of allspice, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1 teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg. I don't use freshly ground, I just use nutmeg spice. But yeah, those are the 2 steps that I'm gonna start with. I will show you what that looks like, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna cut the sound because this mixer is quite loud. Also, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there is literally a man across from me who is hammering together iron rods and wood, and it's so loud. So yeah, let me get all that going, and we'll check back in once the butter and the sugar is creamed together. Okay, so the butter and the sugar is creamed. It looks like this. And I've also sifted all my dry ingredients with the exception of one. I have just been informed that when I put ginger on the grocery list, Jean accidentally bought whole ginger. So I'm just gonna pause for a second and run to the closest grocery store to buy ground ginger because it's kind of like a key ingredient in gingerbread. Okay, I'm back. Hands washed, gingerbread. I'm just gonna add that in and we'll continue on. Okay, so now that we have all of our dry ingredients sifted and mixed together, I'm gonna go back to my butter and sugar mix, and I'm just gonna scrape down the sides of the mixer and then give another mix for like a minute. Then I have 3 eggs to add in. I'm gonna add them 1 at a time, and I'm gonna scrape down the sides of the mixer after every egg just to make sure everything is perfectly mixed. Once I've added the eggs in and everything is blended together, I have to add in 360 grams of molasses, which I have right here, and then 10 mils of vanilla extract, or 2 teaspoons. sort of step to making this dough is to slowly add in all of the dry ingredients to the wet ones, and I'm just gonna mix on low, and I'm just gonna slowly add in 1 or 2 scoops at a time until it's all incorporated. Okay, so even though I've done this recipe 4 times before, I've never done it in this mixer. And it's actually way too small for this dough. So I think I'm gonna take half of out, mix in the rest of the flour, and then knead it all together. But yeah, I did not think, I really thought this would be fine. This is like a standard size KitchenAid, but maybe I should have halved the recipe, I don't know, but the machine is definitely struggling. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna have to go hands in and use both hands, so don't mind me just pull out some plastic bags to wrap my hand in. When I tell you guys that this finger injury has been the most annoying thing, I really mean it. You know what I think I did last year, because this is a lot, and thank goodness I stopped. I definitely would have broke this machine, but I think last year I must have done it in 2 batches, because you definitely, if you want to make the gingerbread house, you definitely need the full recipe. Yeah, I don't know what kind of mixer is going to be able to do all this in one go. Oh my gosh, you guys, kneading this was a legitimate workout. But this is our final product, this beautiful ball of gingerbread dough. Next step is to cut it into 4 quarters, flatten it out into little discs, wrap them in cellophane, and put them in the fridge for minimum 2 hours. I think I'm gonna go with 3 hours, and then we'll continue on with rolling it out and cutting and everything, but yeah, it's got to sit in the fridge for a little bit. One, 2, 3, 4 discs. I'm gonna throw them in the fridge and I'll check back in about 3 hours. Hi you guys, we're back. It's probably 4 hours later. I've called for backup to help me finish the recipe. This always ends up being what happens is when I make the gingerbread, I end up finishing it so late at night. I don't think we're able to glue the house together, but at least we'll get all the pieces baked and then tomorrow we'll glue it together. But yeah, the next step for us is to preheat the oven to 325. We're gonna dust the little countertop with a mixture of flour, cinnamon, and ginger. And we're gonna roll out our dough.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, can you sprinkle flour?
Okay.
Sorry. Jean got me flowers on his way home. this is just ginger. And really spread it out. We're gonna do one disc at a time just because our oven's small, so there's no point in getting overwhelmed. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah. C'est quoi? Oh putain.
Does it smell good?
Attends voir.
Okay, so I normally completely wing it at this point in the recipe. Like, I just stop looking at the recipe that I will link below for you guys. But I was reading it and I thought it was really interesting because you really want to make sure that the whole slab is the exact same height, width, whatever you want to call that, because it's going in the oven, it's cooking all at the same temperature for the same amount of time. I have had cases where one has been thinner than the other and it's like a little bit more burnt and crispy. And what the chef, the author of the recipe, recommends is rolling pin, what are they called? Sorry, I have to go back to the recipe. Rolling pin rings that you put on either side, which makes sure that you roll to the exact height that you want. And we want about 5 millimeters. I don't have these rings. I'm just gonna do it freehand. But next year, I think if I want to make something more advanced or perfect my house, then I might invest in the rings.
Another ring for next year?
Can you get your measuring tape?
What?
So we can measure 5 millimeters. I feel like this is too thick, but I kind of like it thick. Is that bad?
No.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a centimeter, I think, no? Am I crazy? What? Oh my god, yeah, okay. So we need like half this size.
Yes.
Do you think this is okay? I mean, who cares if it's a bit thick?
No one. Yes, I think it's good.
Okay. So like I said, normally I will use the printout sheets that are attached to the recipe. I've actually done this so many times that I've glued them on cardboard to make it easier for cutting. But I saw this mini gingerbread house cookie cutter set. It's like this big. I don't know if you can see. And it's definitely maybe a quarter of the size of the house I normally make. But what I'm thinking is I wouldn't mind making a couple small ones to give them out to people or bring them to parties and stuff. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use these smaller cookie cutters as opposed to the printable template. Okay, so for our house we need 2 roofs.
And you put flour, cinnamon and ginger.
For what?
Only on one side?
No, so the dusting has those spices so that it tastes like gingerbread instead of flour.
Okay,
but there's spices inside.
Okay, but only on one side of the...
Yeah, this is just so it doesn't stick to the counter. Is this your first time baking?
Yes. Little house, yes.
Okay, and then we need 2 sides of the house. And then we also need a front and a back of the house. So we only have space on this slab for, let's say, the front. And on the front, we also have a door. This set is so much easier, you guys. Like, you'll see if you do the printout version, but I like was sitting there for hours with like a knife trying to cut out and be precise. This is so much easier. Okay, so the door we need to cook. You can put that on the baking sheet. And then I'm also gonna add a little heart window as well. So cute. And then we also have a little bit of space.
A little bit, huh?
What can we make? A star?
I'm not sure.
A star, that's perfect.
Oh, okay. You are.
The star?
Yes.
Thanks. Basically, we're just putting all of these pieces onto the baking tray. Okay, so this is our first round. Because they're pretty small pieces, like, again, if you look at the printout, the size of the roof is like half of the baking tray. So because these are small, I'm gonna put them in for like maximum 15 minutes.
15?
I'm actually gonna take out the door and the window at the 10-minute mark because those are way smaller than the other pieces. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna roll this back up and roll it out. We have another, we have the back of the house to do. And I think we might try making 2 more gingerbread houses, and then whatever else we have left, we'll just make cookies. We have probably 20 cookie cutters, so we can just have some fun with it. But yeah, we'll come back when everything is cooked to show you guys what it looks like. Thanks.
Avec plaisir. It's 2 a.m. Ah non, only midnight and half. Comment tu dis minuit et demi?
Midnight.
Midnight and half?
We're back. It's currently
midnight and half.
Midnight and a half. We've opened our first bottle of wine. And we finished almost all the gingerbread. We left 1 disc in the fridge because we already have enough. We have 2 houses here that we're gonna glue together with icing. And we have these cookies, which just came out of the oven. Do you want to show them your favorite, the penguin? So that's Jean's favorite. We have these ones. Can you hold it?
Of course.
We have all these. More like gingerbread man cookies.
And a bowl full of hearts.
So I don't know if you guys have ever had, like, you know those ginger snaps that you can buy in Costco, like the big packs? And then I would just make a bunch of little mini ginger snaps. That way we can package them up and give to our friends. But yeah, the next step for us is to glue the house together. We want to do it tonight just because it takes very long to dry. I would say minimum 12 hours to harden, so it's good to do it and leave it overnight. Oh my god. To make our icing, we just did basic royal icing. It was 3 eggs with 450 grams of icing sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla, and you just whip it together until it forms peaks. I will leave the recipe that I used down below. And let's start gluing. Okay, have you done this before?
Non.
Okay.
Moi j'ai fait de la maçonnerie mais with real things quoi. A real house.
This is real. Okay, so I'm thinking that the house can be face this way, and that way we can decorate it like it's a yard.
Okay.
So we're just gonna line up all the pieces. So this is kind of the vibe, right? So the first thing we'll glue is this. I'm gonna glue it to the bottom. Wow, this is the first time I'm using a piping bag. Normally I just use a Ziploc bag that I cut, and this is way easier. Highly recommend. Okay, you have to hold it tight, 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 like this.
How do you do this when you are alone?
So I normally have spice bottles and like cans. Like I'll line up cans to keep it from falling. All right, so Jean's gonna hold that for about an hour and I'll be back.
If it's not 12 hours, it's fine. But don't make me move, please.
Okay, so I think that we can start putting things around to hold it. We can put one on this side, maybe. One on both sides. Yeah, this is stressful.
Yes, you can say this. Stressful.
Are you having a good time yet?
Yes, but I'm stressed. My heart is beating really fast. I don't want to make bêtises.
The worst that would happen is we would just reglue it. Can you hold that tight?
Yes, but I don't want to break a wall.
Okay, good. Just show. Honestly, the worst is the roof because it slides down. Here, we can put here. Honestly, I think that should be okay. We're gonna put a timer on for 30 minutes and see if it's still held in the shape to make sure all the spice bottles are holding it okay. And we have a second one that we have to ice as well. So we'll do that.
30, it's okay.
And we'll come back when the wine is gone and the houses are glued together. We're back. It is 1:46 in the morning. We're pretty much done. We're done with what we can do tonight. This one is almost fully decorated. This one at least is glued together. You guys can see like we have just used all the containers and bottles in the house to hold it together. We're hoping that we're gonna go to sleep and everything is gonna remain glued together. It definitely has happened before where the roof will like slide down, but I think it should be fine. Honestly, I think it should be fine. We also decorated a couple of cookies to give to our friends. Yeah, so these are the gingerbread man. Jean is also an artiste. He added like the snow to the Santa hats of the penguins. And yeah, that's kind of where everything's at. We'll probably check back in tomorrow when we remove the spices and we package our cookies. Yeah.
You are also an artist.
Okay, I was born a baker, not a painter, okay? Yeah, big thank you to Jean for staying up with me.
Oh, it's all for me, all my pleasure.
Okay, bye. See you tomorrow.
Yes.
Avec tes mains. Non, mais avec tes mains. Mais oui.
On va pas le manger.
Tradition, il faut l'écraser avec le poing.
Bah, c'est ce que les enfants font, hein. Mais Alex, c'est dur, hein. Non, mais c'est dur.
Non, mais il faut vraiment que je le frappe.
Mais c'est comme une pierre.
Non, mais je le frappe.
Yeah.
Oh